Greetings, fantasy NBA folks. Sorry for the layoff. We had a little company for the holidays. We had a really good Christmas and a Happy New Year. I hope you had the same. I had to reconfigure my studio a little bit. I'm working on some configurations as it relates to background noise reduction and that sort of thing. So if you have to turn up your volume, I apologize for now, but we will keep fine tuning until we get it right. Let's jump right into it. I don't think I've updated you in at least a week, maybe even longer. We are on week 12 now, and I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of how things are going here. First of all, in the 2.0 Thunder League, we are 10-2. We are in third place, fourth as far as points scored, and seventh as far as points against. I did make a note here that we are averaging 134.6 points per week with 7 starters. So ideally, we're looking at trying to hit that 20-point mark or so with every player, and then that'll put us at 140 and kind of maintain pace. So taking a look here on the spreadsheet, I already locked in a few things for this week. A couple of players put us above that 20-point average, and then a few put us below. But based upon projections, it felt like the 15, and the 14 there just needed to be locked in because it didn't look like there was going to be a whole lot more later on. And I got to be honest, with my efficiency ratings from week to week, that's been pretty accurate. So occasionally I'll miss on one, but rarely will I miss on more than that in these leagues where you get to pick the points after the games. So I did happen to notice that we are second in our division. So this is a league that does 8 4-team divisions, and we are in second place by 19.6 points. I am tied with the Minnesota Timberwolves. We both have a 10-2 record, so it goes to points. And I did happen to do a little further digging and realize that only the division winners, the 8 division winners, go to the playoffs. So despite the fact that I am in third place, the team in front of me would go to the playoffs and I would not, just because they've outscored me by a few points. And again, as far as points scored, I'm fourth in a 32-point team league, which means this team in front of me is, first, second, or third. I didn't even bother to look, but that seems like that's going to suck for one of us by the end of this, and I really hope it's not me, that's for sure. By the way, in the points against category, Minnesota, who is ahead of me, is 103 points behind me, so he's had fewer points scored against him, and only just a smidge points more. So we have the same record, and I'm just going to keep on grinding and just kind of see how things turn out in the end. We did play each other, finger quotes, play each other in week 2, but it ended in a tie because we hadn't started counting results in the standings yet. We got a late start on this league, and so our head-to-head match is not going to come into play as it relates to the standings or anything. And I really would do a little schedule analysis on this if I were the commissioner. I'm not, so I probably won't. But if you're going to do these divisions, you should absolutely play each team in your division twice. And I can just tell you right now, I don't play Minnesota again. So that might be something I'll bring up with the commissioner in the off season. But he's going to have to manually do the schedule to make that work. And I don't know that he's going to want to do that. But anyway, we shall see, I guess. See if there's anything I left behind here, left out. We have won 5 straight games, and we might pass him this week. It looks like we're both actually going to lose, despite the fact that I'm 10-2. It looks like I'm about to go 10-3, but he is also about to go 10-3. And as of projections right now, I am supposed to outscore him by about 20. So we are going to be dead heat after this week. And I think we only go 17 weeks in this league. Maybe there's some 2-week playoff matchups or something. I'm not sure. But we really need to get this handled, I think, before too long. We need to at least have a shot going into the last week, and I think I will. So last week we were sixth in scoring. We were at 95% efficiency, and that's pretty good. So we'll take it. Lots of injuries on the Thunder lately, so it's been a little hard scrambling each week, especially right before tip off, to figure out who to get in and who to get out. And all we can do is just the best we can. That's for sure. So that is the 2.0 Thunder League. Here is the Oklahoma City Thunder, and just the NBA league that I again have the feeling is not going to survive after this year. It's interesting. I sent out a message saying I would help commish. I did not get an answer. A trade was pending and it did get completed, so somebody's paying attention, I think. But this one had some trouble in the chat with some racist stuff, and I stepped in and got Sleeper to ban a couple of people, and so it's been kind of working. But we only have one commissioner, and man, he is MIA. I've not seen him post or anything lately, so have a feeling this league may not last beyond this year. That's okay. I'm probably in too many anyway. But we are in third place. 8 teams make the playoffs. There's 2 conferences in this one, not 8 divisions. And so I'm second in my conference, and I'm behind my friend, by the way, who is undefeated. He's killing it. I'm in third place, which means I guess I would technically get like the top wild card. My team is 16-2. We've been scoring 175 a week, and that is with 10 starters. So around 17 and a half per player. And again, I'm probably going to try and hit 20 per player on average. You'll see I've got a little top heavy, couple of people up on the top this week, and then a few people I've already locked in at the bottom. So we'll see how that pans out in the end. I am behind my friend, by the way, who is undefeated this year. He has not lost a game yet. I've won 5 straight. And again, I think we just keep grinding in this one. This one I feel pretty good about making it. The other one I'm not so sure. We'll see how that goes. We were second in scoring last week. SGA was the best point guard, and we were the most efficient manager at 94%. So I do think picking a team like the Thunder in a deep starting lineup, like 10 starters, is an advantage because man, everybody participates. So these 13s and these 12s look a little weak on this sheet here, but I guarantee you there are some people in their 8th, 9th, 10th starter, they're getting 2 or 3. They're not getting 10 or 12. So you can kind of see it this week. We're looking at maybe a 9 or a 10 as our lowest output for any player, and if I can keep it that way, and get these stars to perform, then we should be okay. Let's jump to the Pistons. Notice again up here in the top left, I'm kind of leaving us some notes. We are 9-2. We are 6th place. We are 5th in points scored, and we're 25th in points against. So we're getting a little bit of a break here. There's only 8 starters in this league, but we have been averaging about 166 points a week. I think the scoring system on this one's a lot different because I have noticed that some leagues take efficiency more into account, like that 2.0 Thunder League. So you can have a really great scoring night, but if your shooting is for crap, then it doesn't score as many points. Whereas other leagues don't worry about efficiency. All they worry about is the bottom line. And so this one might be one of those kinds of leagues. As far as the Pistons go, there are no divisions or conferences, and 6 teams make the playoffs. So right now we are hanging on to that last spot. We do have a matchup this week against the number 4 team in the standings, and we are currently projected to win. So that's going to work out hopefully really good for us. We have won 5 straight, hopefully about to be 6. We were 14th in scoring last week, so a little off week last week, but we still won. And we were at 90%, which sounds good, but based upon my other teams, not as efficient as some of my others. So I think the addition of Jaden Ivey into the Detroit Pistons lineup is causing me a little bit of inefficiency, and that it's hard to guess when he's going to do well. Marcus Sasser has been in there kind of mixing things up a little bit too sometimes. So it's a problem I'll take because it does mean we're kind of deep. But I think this is legitimizing week. If we can beat the number 4 team, I think that tells us that we're for real. And all we got to do is just keep on grinding and get into those top 6 and then take our chances in the playoffs. So Pistons are doing pretty well. Now this one, Sleeperholics, is a 32 team dynasty. I took over this team. I did not get to draft it. We are 5-6. We are 16th in the league. We're 10th in points scored, which is pretty good, and 4th in points against, which means we've caught a little bit of a bad break here, I think. There are no divisions. There are no conferences. 6 teams make the playoffs, so I don't know that we're going to get there. Being 16th, we're middle of the road. We're very average is basically what we are. Would point out real quick, picked up this Najee guy off of the waiver wire because the centers for Denver keep getting hurt. And so he popped off for 27.5. Right now he's my best player this week. So we will take that. That is for sure. Right now we're playing the 4th place team in this league, and we're about 50-50. If anything, we're projected by a little bit, 4% or so, to lose. So I don't know if this team's ever really going to get legit. It's 5-6, and you are what your record says you are, according to Bill Parcells, and that means I think we're pretty average in this league. But some exciting days ahead, I think, for it. We were 15th in scoring last week at 97%, which tells you we couldn't have done much better, and we were again middle of the road as far as our picks and stuff. So. I would point out there are 6 teams ahead of me in the standings who have scored fewer points, and that's a little upsetting. I really don't like that. I'm almost interested if I do maybe one more league next year, especially if a couple of these other ones fall away. I might do like a rotisserie type where I get to, if I'm scoring a lot of points, I get to have the benefit of that, and it doesn't rely on record so much head to head, if you know what I mean. So. That is the Sleeperholics Anonymous 32-team dynasty. Here's Sporting McSportball. This was a team I did get to pick myself. So Sleeperholics, I told them, hey, challenge me. And so they gave me kind of a mediocre team, I think, on purpose. This one I actually went through and looked at the rosters and looked at the draft picks, and I picked this team. Very young, very exciting, lots of draft picks, and basically on a build, really, and I wouldn't call it necessarily a slow build. I think it might be better than that. So just so you know, I'm going to make a mark here. The heater kicked on, and it's kind of loud where I'm at right now, and I'm curious how that sounds on tape. So I'm going to give about a moment of silence here, and then I'll keep going, and let's see if you all are able to still hear me over that. I think you can, and I've taken measures to reduce the background noise, so we'll see. But we're still in testing mode, that's for sure. Sporting McSportball, and then it just got louder, as if it were listening to me. I'll let another moment of silence go by. Okay, and then I'll keep going. 14th place, Sporting McSportball. We are 16th in points for. We are 22nd in points against. But again, very young and really looking to get better. I think this team, if I just kind of leave it alone and don't screw it up, it is only going to get better. There are no divisions or conferences in this league. 8 teams make the playoffs. Kind of interesting how Sleeperholics, there's only 6, and Sporty, there's 8. I can tell you there's been one extra season of the Sporty League than there has of the other one. I think when someone set it up, they messed it up. So hopefully going into next year, we'll have 8, but this year it's only 6 in the Sleeperholics, 8 in the Sporting McSportball. We are currently projected to beat the 30th place team. We have won 4 straight, so it looks like we're about to win 5. We did make a trade in this league since the last time I checked with you. We traded Nemhard for the Pacers, and we We traded Jay Wilson, I think, for the Nets. He's a young guy. He might work out at some point. We picked up Turner and we picked up Kuzma. For the record, Turner I had traded away, and now I've traded back for him. This team absolutely had to have a center. And again, we're sitting here at 6-5. We're about to be 7-5. Maybe if we can go on a run, we can get up into that playoff contention. I don't know for sure, but I knew without a center there was no way. So we kind of renegotiated an old trade, got my center back, sent a couple other people instead, and we'll see how that goes. We did beat a 6-4 team last week, and that's good. If you're going to be mediocre, you got to beat, or better than mediocre, I think you got to beat the mediocre teams. And so we did a pretty good job last week. We were 13th in scoring, though, at 94%. And again, that tells you we're still, we got to do better. We got to have better options in order to jump up that leaderboard a little bit. And so at 94%, hopefully, if we get Turner involved, the guy who traded him didn't like him, and I don't know why he traded for him in the first place, because he got him from me. I had to reevaluate that and get him back. That was the best deal I got, so we will take it. Did not really want to get rid of Nembhard, but in the end, you just had to have a center, and I can tell you, as far as guards and stuff go, man, this team is locked in. Look at Richardson, a rookie, got me 28 this week. Look at Murray Boyles, a rookie, got me 46.8. Man, I'll take it. That's for sure. Porter's been awesome, for sure. And, here's Turner. Here's Coward, who has kind of been hurt lately. And if I can get him healthy, man, I think this team can go on a run. So lots of draft picks on that team, and I'm really excited about the future for that one. Let's jump to the Celtics. We are 8-3. We are currently in 8th place. We are 8th in points scored, which is good, but we are 22nd in points against, which means we've gotten some luck, which I'll take, but you can't count on it forever. Only 6 teams make the playoffs again. I am one of the commissioners in this league, and so I feel like I might be able to influence it a little more as far as making it 8 teams. In fact, honestly, I'll probably at the end of the season renew the league and make it 8 teams and not even ask anybody. So it needs to be 8, that's for sure. Just keep grinding. We're on the 8th place spot, and there are plenty of weeks to go here to get to that 6th place spot. So we did elevate Kobe Sanders from the taxi squad, which was kind of interesting. I don't know if he's ever going to fall in here. We've got Hugo Gonzalez and Kobe Sanders, who are starting to make a little bit of noise as rookies. They might start beating out Hauser. I mean, look, I've got Garza in here who are locked in at 14. If I can get one of these guys to start filling it up, we might be looking a little bit better there. I do have a friend, by the way, who was 3rd in scoring last week. I did have the best shooting guard in Derek White last week, and I was 6th in scoring last week. So this team has a chance, I think, to make the playoffs, even though only 6 make it. I feel like if I just keep doing what I'm doing, we got a shot. So we're just going to keep that going. So now we're out of the dynasty leagues, the 32-team dynasty leagues. This one is a 16-team redraft. It is a 10-player starting lineup. So it goes a little deep. And I got to be honest, man, I've been killing in this league. It almost seems too easy, which means I'm probably jinxing myself. But Tulsarado is 9-2. We are 1st in points scored, and we are 16th in points against. That's as good as you can get in a 16-team league. So we'll see if things start going south. We're averaging well over 400 a week, and it just keeps kind of getting better for this team. So hopefully it continues. I can tell you with the redrafts, I don't like those as well as the dynasties. If this league makes it another year, I'll probably stay in it. If this league folds, I don't know that I'd do another redraft. I don't know, but we'll have to kind of see how that goes. We are basically in 1st place. There's no divisions, there's no conferences. There's 16 teams, and 8 make the playoffs, so half the league. and we are currently projected to beat the fourth place team. So this team's for real. I mean, just look at SGA there at the top, Porter there second. We're locking in our sixth deepest guy is scoring 35 points. That's pretty good. So we were fifth in scoring last week at 95%. And this one's a little tricky to maintain efficiency because there are just a bunch of dudes who can really score. But not too much time to spend on that one. 9-2, definitely going to make the playoffs in that one. And we'll see how it goes. This one is the interesting league out of all of them, I think, the most. It's my longest tenured league. It's a 14-team dynasty, and it is not a lock-in. You pick your players before they play their game, and whatever they get, you're stuck with. This team is currently 12-10. We are 7th out of 14 in points scored. Only 6 make the playoffs. But if I don't make the playoffs, the winner of the consolation bracket gets basically pick 1.15 in the draft. I'm looking forward to that. I don't have a first-round pick this year, and if I don't make the playoffs, I will not be too disappointed. I would almost rather just be seated really well in the consolation bracket and get that extra pick. But if I make the playoffs, I'll just play that out too, whatever. Clegane has been coming on strong. Derek White has been coming on strong. Edgecombe has been coming on strong. And Aaron Gordon is coming back. So this team is kind of poised to get better. We're tied with the sixth place team as far as record goes. And probably no worse than 1-1 this week. Hopefully going to go 2-0. So we'll see how it goes. Our efficiency on this one last week was 72%, and that's that hard to pick the right players before the game aspect rather than after. We were 8th in scoring last week, so again, kind of an average team, but I do feel like there's some really good signs here of growth. I did do a little statistical analysis here, and we've got like 19 players that could start for other teams. The heater just went off, so I'll give it a moment of silence to tell the difference. But I've got about 19 players that could actually be in starting lineups. The real problem with this team, again, just flat out superstars. I don't really have those. I think Edgecombe could be that person. For sure. I do love Renaud. Rollins has been a nice surprise. I still have faith in Ivy. Podzinski, I think, when he gets older, is still going to fill it up once Curry's gone. So we will see how that goes. Outlaws are 12-10 and looking to make a little bit of a push here. Let's jump to an 18-team dynasty that's drafted this year. Took the place of a league that I did finally go ahead and leave and archive. I don't think it's ever coming back. And I do like this team. This one has an interesting roster issue in that people have cut some really, really good players that I think are in a dynasty league players you want to keep. Specifically, Traore here, Maluk here, and I feel like there was one other one actually. Riseacre. Is this one where I got Riseacre? Yeah, I picked up Zachary Riseacre and locked him in this week for 42.6 points, which I was not expecting. But the problem has become now, I have Murray on IR, and he shouldn't be. He's healthy now, but I can't figure out who I want to cut. I don't want to cut these young guys. I feel like they would all three have been number 1 picks, first round picks, if we had had a rookie draft this year. We didn't. We just had a startup draft. But I don't really want to get rid of any of those guys. I guess Riseacre technically is a second-year player, so he wouldn't have been a rookie anyway. But I couldn't believe these guys were cut, and when I picked them up, I couldn't believe I got them. So that leaves us, though, with trying to trade away players. So I did trade away a guy, Barrow, who's been doing really well, and is a pretty young guy. But I felt like the guy might want to handcuff Barrow with whoever else he had. I can't remember who. It might have been Giannis. but I basically traded Barrow and a third for a second round pick. And I can tell you now that guy's second round pick is going to be pretty good. So I've been trying to trade Hauser, if you'll see him here, and Kuzma. The problem really with all that, though, is I'm not that deep at power forward. If I happen to get rid of Hauser and Kuzma, I am really relying on Risaker, and that's a risk. But I also just don't want to cut these guys. So right now we're projected to win. I probably won't get in a huge hurry with it, but at some point I got to get Murray back on the roster, and if that means I got to cut somebody, it's probably Kuzma. I can't really imagine who else I would cut other than him unless it's Hauser. But Hauser's a starter for the Celtics, at least until next year when Tatum comes back. So this one's an interesting dilemma to have. And again, we are, we're 9-1-1 basically, right? And we're in pretty good shape. Fourth place overall. We've scored the third most points. We're 16th in points against, which again means we're getting a little lucky. There are two conferences, by the way, and I am second in the East, which so again means I probably get that top wild card spot. I'm projected to beat the 14th place team this week, so I feel like things are just going to keep on keeping on. We were fifth in scoring last week at a 93% efficiency. If I can't figure out this Murray thing really by tomorrow, my efficiency is going to suffer. So it means I'm probably at some point going to have to cut. I keep posting in the message board for someone to trade me, and I can't get anyone to do it. So if that's the way it is, we just got to cut someone and move on, and I will keep the young guys over the other guys, the older guys, almost every time. Last team to talk about. This is the Oklahoma Supersonics. This team has been historically bad. This is, I think, the third or fourth season this team's been around, and this is my first season with it. I have made a bunch of trades with this team, trying to just kind of get it competitive, and we are. I mean, we're 5-6. We are kind of 50-50 right now against the 18th place team, so if we're 16 and they're 18, we're both very average. But I would like to beat them. Again, my goal here is to not finish in the bottom 10, and right now we are right on the bubble of that goal. So, just know on this league we're really grinding. I say that a lot in some other leagues, but man, this one definitely feels like a grind. Lots of draft picks. In fact, in this league, I traded Huerter for T. Jackson Davis and a second round pick. I took a lot of grief again in the chat. There's one guy in particular who hates every trade I make because T. Jackson Davis was on the waiver wire like 3 days before I traded for him, and he's like, "Usually you shouldn't do that." Folks, if there's a lesson to be learned at the end of this video, it is this: sometimes trading is more about diplomacy than it is economics. And if you help somebody out in the season, they might be a little more willing to work with you when the draft comes around. And I've got like 8 picks. I can't make 8 picks. I don't have the roster space for it. So, at some point, if I want to move up, I got to package some picks together and move up. And maybe some guy's like, sure, I'll move up for this guy. He traded with me before. He's a good dude. I didn't argue with the guy in the chat too much, but folks, just know that trading is not just numbers. It's not just transactional. It is relationship building in some ways. And so I traded her. And by the way, the guy who got Huerter, he traded him immediately. So he had somebody else who wanted him. I'm happy with the deal I got, and we'll see how that goes. But this is the league where me and the other guy who came in this year both have a ton of picks. And so he and I know will be moving back and forth with each other throughout the draft. So I feel like with 157 points a week with only 6 starters, this is like my one league that only has 6 starters. And I'm feeling a little weird about having locked in Filipowski already because I got some players up here that maybe could have done better. But I don't know. We're 50-50. We're doing okay. If 18.66 is the lowest total I have among my starters, I'll feel pretty good about that. Because I seriously doubt any of these, the other 2 that I end up freezing, probably not going to be a whole lot better than that. Probably going to be in the 20-21 range. So we'll take it. And if somebody goes off, then so much the better. So that is your Week 12 Fantasy NBA update. Again, I'll try and kind of keep you all updated week to week now that we're kind of out of the holidays and stuff. And you guys stay safe out there, and I will check back in with you soon.